And hello, everyone. Welcome, everybody, to a very spooky episode today. I am Dr. Alicia with Coaching with Dr. Alicia. The title of the show today is Embracing Your Darkness, a journey into your shadow self. um, in the theme of Halloween this weekend, myself and my guest today are encouraged and inspired to talk about our shadow side. So today we are going to discuss the very scary yet necessary process of embracing aspects of yourself that you're embarrassed by, that you're ashamed to even think about. And growing up, I think like Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think it's very frightening to look within yourself, to confront all of your fears and aspects of yourself that you want to remain hidden away. You are afraid to have people look at yourself. And joining me in the discussion today, when she comes on, I will bring her into the view, is Reiki healer LaShelle, and we're going to talk about the shadow side. So I want to welcome everybody for joining us today. Everybody here in the chat, please type into the chat. What are some things you are afraid of? What are you scared of? Put all of your fears into the chat, pour them out. And as you do that, I want to welcome our guest, Reiki healer LaShelle Whitmore at Blissful Therapy. Let's bring her on. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, I don't know why I feel like I want to talk like a vampire or something from Transylvania. That's how I feel today. But the shadow self, all of the things you're afraid of. Today, we are going to talk about three main topics. Number one, the importance of embracing all of your traumas and fears because they're scary and we tuck them away into our shadow. Second thing we want to talk about are illustrations. I love scary movies. Nothing more scary than scary movies. It is a wonderful movie. That movie is nothing but the shadow side. If Carl Jung was alive today, he'd be so happy to that this movie It came out because it really embraces all of the things you're scared of. The movie Joker is another wonderful metaphysical movie about things that frighten you. And the third thing we want to talk about is if you are ready to face your shadow, things that help you, if you want to grow and develop. We want to talk to you about joining my Healing Haven program, Facing Your Fears, and also Reiki services. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But welcome, LaShelle. What do you have to say about topics today?
Yes, entering the shadows, right? Like entering the darkness. It's so interesting. If anybody's on TikTok, they will have seen the shadow work journal. I know I see the shadow work journal that's been showing up, and a lot of people are delving into their healing journeys, right? And a lot of that involves like no longer running from the hard stuff. When I think about shadow work, I'm thinking of like going into those depths of the difficult. I talk to my boys about like watching those scary movies, thinking about It, thinking about the Joker. I love a good origin story. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to hate the bad guy. We want to hate the antagonist. Like we want to be so mad. I can't believe this person is so mean and so angry. Me, I'm always like, but I wonder why though. You know, it's like I wonder what made them that way. And so when you're looking at the bad guy, the opposer, the difficult person in your life, sometimes it's parents. Sometimes it's a friend. Sometimes it's a relative. Look, sometimes it's your partner where it's like, why are they treating me like this? And then you can go back to figure out, oh, it's their childhood, it's their upbringing. And so when we think about those shadowy sides, or if it's your own personal healing journey, because we're supposed to be on our own personal journeys and focusing on our own stuff. But when you think about it, it's like there's a reason why I'm acting out. There's a reason why I'm reactive and I'm angry. And so the Joker is one of those movies for me where, anything in the DC comic, I'm a Marvel fan personally. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a Marvel fan. But are you in DC or are you in
I'm a
Marvel?
DC. I can't stand that Marvel stuff.
You don't like Marvel? Oh, I love Marvel.
No, their Marvel is too much flash and not enough storyline.
It's a lot of flash. It is.
And really, if you think about it, all the DC comics is nothing but an entire display of shadow work.
It is. It's such a it's a very dark thing, but it is definitely like when you think about shadow work, if you can get to the depths of like what made the Joker like that. And then you see his childhood, and then you see the father figure and the mother and the twistedness. And it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And so, last weekend, we were in Atlanta turning up for the All Black National Convention in Atlanta. And we spoke about, trauma and how people are so triggered. And sometimes it's like, I can't believe he talked to me that way, or I can't believe she handled me that way. But there's usually a reason, you know?
And as soon as you're triggered, you need to start being curious.
Yeah.
What is it within me?
Yeah.
Made that person say something that I reacted so strongly to.
Yeah.
The very first step in going into your shadow work.
Mm-hmm. And think about, why is it called shadow? Why is it called shadow work?
Shadow is very scary. Think about it. All the things about yourself that you're uncomfortable with.
Yes.
What do people normally do with things they're uncomfortable with? They tuck it away.
They do.
Bury it deep. And that's why I like, if you can get your hands on anything by Carl Jung, because the psyche, he says you bury that down deep and you walk around like nothing's going on. That's why clowns are so scary, because clowns put on this makeup that they're smiling. But underneath a lot of it is some very scary things. So all of us put on a clown costume when we walk around this world. And
that's real.
Somebody says something that triggers us, that sparks an aspect of ourselves that we're ashamed of.
Yes.
And where does shame come from? Trauma.
Always. Oh, have you ever met I know a couple of comedians.
Yeah.
Man, they're the most serious people I know. Like some comedians are the most serious, traumatized. It's like you're learning how to deal with this life. You're learning how to, bear the brunts of life. And so sometimes, you laugh to keep from crying. But think back to the Joker, this uncontrollable laugh that's just coming out of nowhere. And it's like this hysterical, crazy. I know I laugh. I have nervous laughter. It's so bad. Oh, the worst situations where you're supposed to be serious and I'm trying to like hold in a chuckle, you know what I mean? It's just like, the nervous thing. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That shadow work is not so easy, but I look at it like going into those spaces where you may have been running away from it. You may have been trying to hide. And that's the ugly stuff that doesn't feel good, that I don't really want to, I don't really want to focus on it. It makes me sad. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But once you shine a light on it, you find out that the triggers kind of lighten up and go away. You find out that those things don't bother you anymore.
It's not so scary as you thought it was. You catastrophize all of the terrible things that could happen. But on the other side of facing all of your fears and the things you're insecure about yourself, you start realizing, wait a minute, my parents lied to me.
Hello, man, that's the part. That's the hard part.
Things, it was a lie, because a lot of times our parents put what they're going through on us.
Yes.
We agree to it and we hold on to a lot of their stuff.
That's true.
And then you let all that stuff go. And then
that's so true.
Remove the mask.
That's so true. You know what? That's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep. It makes me think about when we're sometimes the way we envision the event. Oh, that's the one. That's something that comes up a lot of times in sessions where you envision it this way, and in your mind it's like, my dad saw me, he knew, and he just turned his back and walked away, or my mom did this and she just did it anyway. And it's like, no, she didn't see you, baby. She didn't see you. She wasn't aware of it, or you know what I'm saying, or she didn't do it to hurt you. Or even if you think about it, a lot of kids will see divorce and they'll think that, well, it was all my fault. You know, I got a bad grade and then my daddy left. It's like, no, baby, that's not why. But they lived their whole life really believing that that was the reason. They lived their whole life. Dr. Alicia, I invited you on Instagram. We got folks in the room.
Oh,
Yeah, I got some folks in the room. But yeah, so I think that's the thing that's really tricky, is like really being able to see from a different perspective, looking at it from an adult lens, because I think that's the thing that's really powerful about shadow work, because when you're doing it as a child, when you're living through the experience as a child, it's painful, but you have a child's mind and you have a child's heart and you have a child's temperament and you have a child's strength. But then you get older and it's like, you're looking back at this painful situation like, oh, it's so painful and it was so difficult, but you a grown up now and they can't hurt you like that no more.
That's the thing. And that's why I love that movie, It.
Yeah.
It's great because every single child in that movie, It, all had traumatic past.
Yes.
Person, if I remember off the top of my head, one person had parents that neglected them.
Another
Person had parents that were abused by them. Remember, they had a bully. There was a bully at the school that bothered them, and they nicknamed them losers.
Oh, that's messed up.
And
that's terrible.
And then they started getting bullied and all of these things. And then when they grow up, they have all of this conflict going on in their past that they have forgotten about, which you consciously forget, but you bury it down. And then all of a sudden, here's this clown coming up from underneath. That's nothing subconscious.
Yes, it comes back and gets you.
It comes back, and the more, and the key part of it is the more you run from it, the more scared you are from the things. Guess what? The stronger it gets.
That is so good. That is so good. It grows, right? It grows in strength. That is so good.
When they were running from that clown got very powerful. As soon as they stopped and turned around and started attacking that clown, the clown went all the way down to almost nothing.
That is so good.
Beautiful illustration.
That's good, because facing your pain, facing your difficulty, facing your trauma, looking at it head on, and then it no longer has the power. And sometimes it is a major league painful issue, but are you willing to face it? Do you have the courage to face the trauma, to look that thing in the face? And it's like, I'm not going to run from it anymore. It's like, I mean, even if you think about a bully, right? Like, you turn around, it's like, because you're running, because, oh my God, and I don't know. And it's like somebody's like, when I was a kid, it was the forehead, right?
And that's the thing. Now, because that's your shadow. And then
that's that thing.
Your hair in your face, because
you are like,
you're like, my forehead too big.
And so let's imagine that I make my decision. Well, I already know my stuff. I was looking in the mirror. I know what it is. And then somebody say, hey, big forehead. It's like, that's the best you got. That's all you got. Like, there's no sting to it anymore. But it's only when there's already a thing. There's already an insecurity. There's always the trauma's already there. And now I'm kind of like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Now I have empowered the other guy. I've empowered, you know what I'm saying? And gave them the power to step over and stomp on and hurt and harm. And it's like, no. But remember, it's a choice, though.
Yeah.
Suffering is a choice.
Suffering is a choice. Pain. Now, you could deal with the pain of that by looking at it and embracing it. I was talking about how the most compassionate thing you could do for yourself, and what I do for people in my office, is I help them deal with the uncomfortable feelings that they have. It's so uncomfortable that a lot of us haven't been taught or encouraged to embrace uncomfortable feelings.
Yes.
But as soon as they start embracing all of these uncomfortable feelings and the lies around it, because people,
that's good.
As soon as they start embracing it, guess what? They start having the self-awareness. They start reflecting. They start living their true life, and they don't run from all of these things that they think is keeping them from their true purpose. It's keeping you away.
That's it. That's it. And it has such a major control over you. It ends up really, and it's funny because I didn't think about it, but there have been so many people and things in my life that I'm thinking I'm in charge and I have freedom and I'm empowered, but it's like, but he better not and she better not. And then next thing you know, those things are really directing your movement. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to move with intention, but you're really avoiding conflict and avoiding confrontation. And it's like, no. No, sometimes you got to face confrontation head on. Sometimes you got to face that shadow head on, face that difficulty head on. And sometimes it becomes so, like you said, becomes so small, it becomes laughable. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, but when it's in the darkness, like think about darkness versus like shining light. You know, light is like a prism, and it's so complex, and there's so many layers. And so you find out, oh, my mom handled me this way because, or my teacher handled and said this because sometimes, oh my God, do you know how many people have been, I taught school forever, and so many teachers have told someone something that they held on to it when it wasn't even the teacher's intention. The teacher may say, well, if you don't do this, you'll amount to that. And then the person's like, you'll amount to that. I'll never be anything. The teacher may be saying, stop misbehaving before you end up in jail, dead or in jail. And the person like, the teacher said I'll only end, the teacher thinks I'm going to end up dead or in jail. That's not what she said.
What's interesting about that is that a lot of us have been primed.
Like
you have this priming effect,
and
looking for it. And so you're way more sensitive to this sort of criticism, which I think is beautiful. I mean, in a way,
it can be.
Tell me how I can get better. Always at the end of this video, I'm gonna go to my husband and be like, how can I be better next time?
Yes. Because how can you if you don't know? Yeah. I don't know what to do without you telling me.
And it's funny because I work with a lot of students as they're starting to become therapists. I said, you need to be teachable.
Yes.
Don't have these hang-ups that everything is supposed to be perfect. You have to always seek and try to get some sort of feedback on how well you're doing, because that's how you get better. You can't get better unless you're open. You have to be for that feedback, and sometimes it hurts.
Absolutely. It can be very painful. It can be painful, but if it's productive, is it productive? And Instagram, I'm going to say, hi, I'm live with Dr. Alicia Watkins. David Banner just joined. Hey, David Banner.
Hey, David Banner. Oh, I'll tell. Boyce says hello.
Boyce Watkins says hey too, y'all. Hey. But yeah, I do think that it's very powerful. It's very interesting when you start to look at those painful parts, focus on those, and then let's root it up, because if I'm aware of what I'm doing that's not so pleasant, if I'm aware, because sometimes, you know what, something that's so good, because I'm very direct. I'm a Capricorn, I'm an educator. I get to the point, I don't have a lot of time. And so sometimes, and I like it that way. I like this. I was the one that loved the tough teacher that gives you an F. If you did poorly on the paper, give an F. Don't give me an A and I didn't deserve the A. I don't like that. But I'm also direct in my communication. And I've had people in my life that say, well, your tone was a little strong. And I'm like, I had no idea. Unless you open your mouth and tell me, I did not know my tone was affecting you. I was so thankful. My cousin told me one day, because we had a family emergency, and the nurse was kind of like messing around and I'm like, ma'am, listen now. I'm like, let's get, you know what I'm saying? When we talking about a loved one, I need you to get serious about your business. And my cousin was like, well, you kind of said that a little strong. Well, I wouldn't know, because you don't know your behavior. Like, you can't, something that I say all the time, it's very easy for me to see those in front of me, but I can't see myself without a mirror. I cannot see myself. I do not know my actions. I don't know my behavior. So criticism can be a very good thing. It can be a very good thing. And so knowing how to accept it.
And of course, when I talk to couples, I always tell them, I say, create an environment of safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yes, that's true.
Environment, and nothing's more beautiful than to be in a relationship with someone, because they're always going to hold a mirror up to you.
Yes, they will.
Somebody that will make you accountable to what you're doing, and some of the things that they see aspects of yourself that's hidden, that you don't know about, and you're like, but you have to create safety, of course, so that
I agree. Well, I think that's what's magical about marriage. I think that a lot of people miss the point about marriage, because if I think about it, as a spiritual worker, thinking about it from a spiritual standpoint, your partner is there to help you develop your soul, right? If
Yeah.
you match up just right, that soulmate is there to help you evolve and develop your soul. They are going to push every button, trigger every moment. They're there to expose and alchemize you in a way. And now we're not talking about those toxic, terrible relationships, but we're talking about a happy, healthy marriage. And again, it's not going to be happy all the time because they're going to be like, I don't like the way you communicate this, and I need you to be a little more affectionate with it. And next thing you know, you just evolve into a better version of yourself. If it's a good matchup, you evolve into a better version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me tell you, you don't marry the person you want. You marry
Mhm.
the person you need.
Yes, God. Say it again for the people in the back. You don't marry the people you want. You marry the person that you need. I
You
agree
marry
with that.
the person that you need. Yeah, that's not the spouse you wanted, but guess what?
Yeah.
That's the spouse you needed. You marry the perfect person
Yes.
to teach you what you need. And the sad part about it, and that's just how the world works, is that once you learn your lesson,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to say goodbye.
Ain't that it? Girl, that's the hard one. That's the hard one.
And you got to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
I got it now. I can move
That's
on.
that's a tough one, but a lot of times people have a hard time letting go. But yeah, when the lesson is learned, the teacher can excuse themselves, and sometimes people are holding on for dear life, not wanting to let go. Like, but no, it's supposed to be forever, and sometimes it never was meant to be forever. Sometimes it's just a lesson. It's
It's
just a lesson. Yeah,
guess what? It's okay.
yeah.
It is okay. You
Because
know,
it'll somebody else to come along.
somebody else will come along. And
Hello.
someone's thinking, oh, I should hold on to this person because I'm afraid.
Oh, because they think ain't nobody around the corner.
Nobody around the corner, and there's somebody right there around the corner,
Yeah,
in front of you there. And,
yeah,
and opportunity comes, and you find yet again another person that you're supposed to
yeah.
lesson with.
Absolutely. And I like that the newer version of yourself, the new person matches the newer version of yourself. The healed, better version of yourself. It just keeps getting better. And so I'm more evolved. I don't need that lower version of myself, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm better at communicating. Like it keeps getting better. And so that's what I look forward to is it's gonna keep getting better. It's gonna be a different version of, you know what I'm saying? Because back then, because me in my 20s, girl, me in my 20s, I wasn't a very good communicator. And I was, a different level of selfish and you know what I'm saying? And so the new person, I expect them to match me and to fulfill my needs in a different way. I don't need those old lessons anymore. I graduated from that old thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need that old version, those old lessons. It's like I'm in psychology the 300s, not the 101s. And no, I'm in the 300s now. I don't need them old classes no more,
And I think what's so beautiful about it is that there's a force in all of us that
Yeah.
wants to do better and be better.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
a force in us, and it is sparked by thinking about your purpose in life and things you want to do with yourself.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're ready for it, all of those growth opportunities are going to just come your way. Like
I love that.
you shouldn't work for the growth opportunities. It's going to come to you. You don't even
I
think
agree.
you can sit down, fold your arms, and it will just come right to your lap. You don't even
I
really
agree.
have to work hard on it.
I love that and that's the thing too, when you're ready for the lesson, right? When you're ready for the lesson, because there's no point, you're not going to be in 5th grade getting the algebra 3, you know what I'm saying, trigonometry. It's when you're prepared for the next thing. And I know a lot of folks are like, I want it now. I want my perfect mate now. I want this perfect dream job now. Baby, you're not even ready. You're not even close to it. Like, girl, the way you be talking to people, the way you talk about yourself, you ain't ready yet. You ain't ready yet, because if you talking about yourself like a dog, and then you meet a partner who's going to talk about you like a dog. That's not what you want. That's not what you want. You have to ready yourself.
It's funny because we all desire to do better and to be better. Like nobody who graduates from high school says, my goal in life is to graduate from the 8th grade.
Right. Backwards. No.
You don't want to go back. And even if you do go back, have you ever graduated from high school and then gone back to your old high school and been like, okay, that's nice, but I don't want to be here anymore. Like I'm ready to go to college and move on. Like
yes,
backwards, it's just not anything.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Even thinking about going back to those old relationships.
No. I'm
It's
done.
usually it's usually like that don't usually work out. Now every now and then you see a beautiful story, but usually that was a whole different version of yourself. And like spiritually, it's talking about religion wise, they're like you die into yourself every day. As you become a whole new person, that whole person is dead. She don't even exist. There's people that know me in a whole different, like I'm not even, she don't even live here no more. I'm sorry. Like new number. Who this? Like I don't even, new phone. Like I don't even recognize
That would be a scary movie for me. Having
it.
to go back to
Ooh.
some of my exes that I'm so done with, that would be the ultimate scary moment for me, is to go backwards in any way.
That's a scary movie. And you know what? I saw something. I just saw something the other day where like you know how they have the scary things in the yard? And it was like phone bill, ex-boyfriend. It was like just a big old white sheet of paper with Sharpie marker with all the scary things in your life. Yes, an ex would be that too.
An ex would be scared, or any situation that you're just done with. Like
Exactly.
I was talking to boys recently, and we were like, remember the days we were in our PhD program? If I know what I know now and had to do that all over again, there's no way. There's no
Exactly.
way I would do it again.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm sorry, my kids just got home and I'm gonna open the door. We're live, but come on in, guys.
Yes. Everybody, let me talk to people in the chat. Hello, everybody. What are y'all scared of? Put all of your fears into the chat. Hello, Peter. Hello, RJ. Hello, Brianna. I remember your name. Hello, Peter, Brianna, Miss Tanya Parker. Hello
Hello.
to everyone. Chairman of the poor. I love him. I love
Oh
you.
wow.
He our geek. Well, chairman, I figure is a guy. He comes on. He's a friend of ours.
Oh, okay.
So hello, Sonia. Hello, everyone. What are y'all scared of?
Scary movies of shadows.
And you know what's so funny is when people say, I ain't scared of nothing. I'm like, yes, you are.
Oh, you scared of something. You scared. Look, get married and then it's gonna be get in a relationship and then something gonna show up.
You definitely. But yeah, I mean, we're talking today about the shadow self. We need to the necessary process of embracing our darkness, because if you don't, all these things will keep repeating, and nothing is
Yes.
more of a horror story than repeating the same mistakes over and over again, because
Yes.
you haven't learned your lesson, you haven't
Yes.
addressed your fear, you haven't looked at anything, and that's the purpose of looking into things that you repress, your shadow
Yes.
side. And the more you try to run away from it, like the movie It, the bigger
Mm-hmm.
it grows and it starts to
Yes.
consume you and take over. So that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you have to say to that, LaShelle?
I think that's exactly it. It's like definitely being in a space where you're prepared to face whatever your fear is, not running from it. And I know sometimes we have a tendency to suppress, but to me, if you think about the pressure that calls for, it's like you're pushing it down, you're pushing it down, you're pushing it down. And sometimes, and I think that's something that I've worked with younger children, I work with elementary students, and it's like if you hold it in and you swallow and you swallow and you swallow, and there's going to be a breaking point to where you just bubble and blow up. You just bubble and blow up. And sometimes it's like you're not in control of when that bubble blow up happens. So I would much rather let out, like it's like if you blow up a balloon, to let off the steam a little bit and let off a little, just let a little bit of air out at a time versus the whole thing just, and sometimes you may be screaming and yelling at a loved one. You may be flipping out at your job and at an inappropriate time when you didn't really plan for it and you're not really in a position to handle it, gracefully. So I do think it's definitely important to, you know, take it just a moment at a time and deal with it and face it.
What you're saying is so great, because I think having some self-compassion, I know I talk about
Mhm.
that, but it's so important, because in that moment, when you were facing things that were unbelievable, traumatic,
Yes.
scary,
Yes.
in that moment,
Yes.
you needed to put up a mask.
That's good.
It served you in that moment. When you
Yes.
were a child and you had to deal with parents and you have no
Yes.
control over anything, and you have all these family dynamics and all
Yes.
these scary things, you really did need to put on a mask in order to
Yes.
survive in those moments that were very
Exactly.
to you.
Exactly. Those are coping mechanisms.
Coping
They're
mechanism
coping mechanisms. Yes.
and thank it. However,
Yes.
now as an adult, you don't, the mask is not working for you anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Start compensating and
Hmm.
developing insecurities and seeing yourself in a way that that's you start believing those lies when
Exactly.
you really have to, in order to grow, you have to
Yes.
remove that mask. It
I
has to
agree.
come off. It doesn't work for you anymore. You're no longer a helpless child. You are a
Yes.
functional adult who,
Yes.
who's mature enough and strong enough to face it.
And it no longer serves this new environment. It
Yes.
doesn't serve. Let's say you built up the armor and you had the blocks and the blockades and all the, and you have all those things built around you. And then it's like, and now you're in a beautiful, peaceful meadow full of flowers and trees and butterflies, and you have all this armor and like you're not at war anymore. Baby, you're not at war anymore. Take the guards off, take the doggone boxing gloves off, take the bite out your tone and like chill out. You got to chill out and relax a little bit. But sometimes we don't know. And I feel like, we want to beat up at the coping mechanism. The coping mechanism helped you survive.
It
If you made it, then it helped you to survive. But then at what point do we put that thing down? At what point do we take the mask off? And
yeah.
do we realize that, hey, this is not serving me in this current environment? So if you were in an abusive environment and you had to be sharp with your tone, cool, that worked. But then you have this nice, soft, gentle partner. What you yelling for?
Yeah. And it can even be on the flip side of it, because sometimes
Mm,
we're in abusive situations, we learn to survive and
yes,
have to learn how to please other people.
yes.
I have to give them all my money,
Oh, that's
all
good.
my time, and
Yes,
I have to conform to
yes,
everybody else's wishes and put my own needs to the side.
yeah, yeah.
Terrible for a child to do that, by the way.
That's hard. Yeah,
Put
and
your own needs aside, and then you grow up and you start putting everybody in front of yourself. You start
that's true.
people and trying to do, because you learn that as a child that you need
Yeah.
to do that. No child should have to live under those conditions, but they do.
Yes. Yes, that parents, what is it called? Parentification or some parentification, where you're out here trying to parent your parents, you're caring for everybody, you're martyrdom, and you're martyr, and you're out here loving on and caring for. And sometimes it can just be the simplicity of this innocence of, well, I got to look out for my siblings and I got to make sure my mom's okay. And next thing you know, you taking care of your grown husband, you taking care of your grown children in a way that is not even helpful or beneficial to them. You know
Not
what I'm saying? Because children need a level of independence. Your spouse needs to be able to be an adult too. You know what I mean? And you're bearing this burden. And like in my practice, I see a lot of people who make themselves physically ill, but they have these old coping mechanisms because that's how I receive love, by my acts, by my acts. I'm such a good girl. I'm such a good daughter. I'm such a good sibling. I'm such a good friend that's how I received love. But next thing you know, they have Hashimoto's disease, they have autoimmune disease, they are out here suffering and struggling through so many illnesses. But based on this behavior of, I thought my shoulders were, strong enough to carry everybody else's burdens. Baby, no, you got enough shoulder muscle for your own stuff. And then mind you, being a spouse does take some responsibility. Being a mother does take some responsibility, but you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And there comes a point when your kids can carry their own backpacks. Like when the little kids pulling the little carry-on in the airport, she can roll that doggone back. Why you got 15 backpacks pulling luggage? Bag lady. You can't be the bag lady. You can't be carrying everybody's everything and think that you're going to be able to do that long term,
yeah,
because it's going to do you harm.
and that is about self-worth. You got to
Yes.
know that you're worthy. You know that people are going to love you anyway.
Yes.
That's the thing. If you show someone your true, authentic self,
Yes.
you connect with whoever that is. Because sometimes
That's
you
it.
explore, but don't be ashamed. People will love you. The people who rock with you will rock with you. Whether
That's
you give
it.
them money and give them all of yourself anyway, you
Absolutely.
can't
Absolutely.
buy it from
Yeah, because love me as I am, who I am. No, like I need you to love me for who I am on a soul level, not for what you think. Like, oh, I think this is a good matchup, and I think I can get a lot out of this relationship. I think I'm winning. Because as soon as you stop doing stuff, As soon as you stop being beneficial, then they out. And I don't think that's not the kind of relationship that you want long term. Like you want somebody you can grow old with and give, reciprocity between the two of you. And of course there's give and take, but it's not just what you can do for a person. It's not what you, but like you said, they'll love you no matter what you're doing. If you're not doing nothing at all, or if you're doing everything, it's just icing on the cake. You know what I mean?
It definitely is. And so we are talking about today about all of the things that we're ashamed of, all of the lies that some people have told us that
Yes.
we're not good enough, aspects of ourselves that we know we need to improve on. Sometimes we're conscious of them, but a lot of times we're not. If you're ever triggered by something, if you ever feel like, ooh, this caused some uncomfortable feelings in you, that's when you can start to look at it and say, you know what is it about me that's responding in this way? And you're looking around like, no, not everybody else is responding this way.
Oh, no, right.
That's a wonderful opportunity to start thinking about your shadow.
Yes.
Acknowledging it, accepting it, and gaining control instead of your shadow, the things that you're embarrassed about to control you.
Yes.
And the people controlling you. It's really about taking back your power and being confident in who and what you are. Like, no, we're not going to do this. This is a boundary. I'm not doing this today. Mm-hmm.
I agree. And it's something, we talked about shadow work, and another big word is the inner child, right? Because whenever that trauma happened, whenever that difficulty happened, whenever you learned those coping mechanisms, whatever age you were at that time, that's really who's running the show. And if you're really aware of yourself and you're aware of your situation, sometimes you can be in a relationship and you see that person that you're with having a whole temper tantrum and you like, that was childish. They like you sitting up here having a whole conversation with a grown man and he called and name calls. You're like, did you just call me ugly? Or like, what did you do? Like, how old are you? But that you don't understand. Oh, I'm talking to the teenage step. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to a child. And I mean, 40, 50, 60-year-old folks are still having that inner child who stands up and is in full control of the situation. And they're no longer being mature. You're not talking to your spouse. You're talking to the 14-year-old who was bullied, or the 10-year-old who was neglected or rejected. You know what I'm saying? And so those are the shadows where if you face it and you understand, and I know that I had a conversation with a client of mine, and it was a thing, there was a race thing. There was a race thing to where it was like, my ex-husband is dating this girl that was of a different race, and it was so hurtful and she was so upset. But I was like, that's not why though. Like, you think that it's this moment that's getting you, but what it is when you in 6th grade, your crush that you was so crazy about, he started dating a little girl that looked like the new girl. You know what I'm saying? And it's this really old hurt, but it feels like it's just such a pain. It's like, it's first of all, it's your ex-husband. And we don't care about, you know what I'm saying? But it's that old childhood wounding of, I think he didn't like me because she was light skinned. Or he didn't like me because her booty was bigger. He didn't like me because whatever the thing is, but we hold on to those little things and they build and you just need to shine light on the shadow. You need to shine light on that old hurtful thing so that it no longer stings,
Yeah. And okay, so I'm going to put it into my therapy terms, which you just said. Have a functional adult. That's an adult that just walks around, can be professional, can be mindful, can be conscious of what they're saying, can be just a simple person that you meet when you first start dating somebody. The functional adult.
Yes.
When you're triggered and you start going back, that's when you get into the hurt child.
Yeah.
It was hurt.
Yes.
And your response to that's the clown.
Yes.
That's what the mask that you put on. It's called the protective person in you. Because as a child, when you were hurt, you had to protect yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes you protect yourself by pleasing others. Sometimes you protect yourself by fighting back. The actions that you do, that's the mask.
Yes, exactly.
And I do want to say one of the very important things that I want to talk about today before we wrap up is that, we're here for you. If you feel like you want to take off that mask and really deal with that hurt person, so that you can continue to be the functional adult functional adult is all of the things that you really want to do and to be, and
Yes.
the side of yourself that's healthy.
Yes.
Live your life in this healthy way, and but you have these things that you're protecting. And
Yes.
feel comfortable with us. We are here to work with you.
Yes.
I have next month. I have a starting in November. In a few weeks, I have a Healing Haven group that
Yay.
I'm starting. Cycle 2. I started with my first group. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. That's a part of me that I'm like, oh my gosh, is it going to be? No one's going to show up for my Healing Haven.
And
That's
look at us now.
whole rejection thing. And I'm like, wow, we had overwhelming experience when they came. Like, people were coming and talking about, I used to fight with people at work, and now I don't fight with anybody at work.
Right. Right. That's a beautiful thing.
All of the things that we've been doing to kind of develop this healthy adult in us. And you could go to draliciawellness.com to sign up. You do get a Reiki session with Miss LaShelle. Yeah.
Yes.
Half-hour session with her. She's done great work. Man, Boyce is still talking about his session with you.
Yay! That's wonderful.
Session with you. I got him a session with LaShelle here, and it was really powerful. So
Yes.
I love it because I know I talk about how it speeds up this process of the work that I do with people in this nice, beautiful group where we all feel safe.
Yes.
We talk about our journey. We talk about mindfulness. We talk about self-care. We talk about
Yes.
boundaries. We talk about communication. We talk about mindset. All of these things that we need to do in order to become our true self. Did you want to add
Yes.
to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, with the draliciawellness.com, when you go there, we have the healing retreat. We have the virtual healing retreat. So we did a virtual healing retreat. So those who weren't able to make it, you can get it on demand. You can get it when you're ready for it. You're gonna signing up for VIP. You get your 30-minute session with me. And what I really like about the healing journey, because it's a journey, right? You have had a whole entire lifetime of all these things that have been happening that have been impacting you, and you want to get there, but it's layered. We have this mosaic of a life full of all kind of complex traumas and things that we want to overcome. And so what I like about my sessions is that we can get to, like, it's almost like you go to the doctor and you think that you're going there for, I hurt my knee and I don't know, my knee is hurting. And then you get into the doctor and it's like, girl, you got heart disease, baby. We got to get on that heart. And there's something going on with your kidneys too. And we have to focus on these other things first. And so with my session, I'm able to get in there with the holistic wellness. So we're focusing on the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions. We're getting the mental, we're getting all of these things down at the same time. And we're able to really attack it in a way where you may not know where that thing is. You may not know what to focus on first. You may not remember, because sometimes them shadows are so compartmentalized and buried so deeply that you're not quite sure I don't know why my life is not going the way it is, but it's not. I don't know why I'm single, but I am. I don't know why I can't keep a job, but I can't. And so getting to those, intuitively, I'm able to get to those pain points. I'm able to get to the places without suffering, though. We don't have to suffer through. It's just a matter of, this is where that came from. And I mean, I had a gentleman who was in his 70s, and we were able to pinpoint, he was 5. He was 5 years old. I saw him as a kid with his siblings. I just get the vision. And I was like, oh, that's why. And then your marriage will improve, and your job, your career, like all these other things will improve if I can get you back to that one space to look at that situation differently, because it could be, and it can be touchy, right? Because sometimes it's like you put your father on a pedestal, and my mother was this and that, and she was that and this and this. And it's like, baby, your daddy was beating your mama's butt. He was beating her half to death, or he was cheating on her nonstop. Like, sometimes it's just coming to the reality of like, oh, that's why she acted that way. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's was gonna say, you don't want to wait till your 70s to be like, oh, now I got it.
Now I can live. Now I can have joy. Now I can have this happy life. Now I can get over. No, we could have been put that thing down. And so that's what I really like about the healing sessions with me, the intuitive guidance sessions with me. It's like you get to, and then it's a whole, I mean, it's not no quick and easy process. They get to go through the virtual process, because that was a 2-day journey, right? It was a 2-day journey full of information. There's handouts, there's the booklet, the workbook, and then they get the sessions with you, they get the session with me. I just think it's a really good tool for your tool belt. It's a really good thing to jumpstart the process or to help you along your way in your healing journey.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a lifetime, and you'll have access to all of that for a lifetime.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Thanks so much, LaShelle, for joining me. You can look
Thank
her
you.
up at Blissful Therapy. You're at Blissful Therapy on Instagram, right?
I am. Instagram and Facebook at Blissful Therapy. That's where I am. And you can find me at blissful-therapy.com. You'll see my product line on there, and you'll also see the services I offer: intuitive guidance sessions, energy clearing. We get to those chakras and those auras and get in there and cleanse and see what's going on, and get to that healthy, happy life. So the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the traumas and the things that you're just holding on to, that you're ready to let go of and have a different kind of life. Yeah, better.
So if you want some self-awareness, you ready for some personal growth, that could be scary, but it's a necessary process to embrace all of the things that you're struggling with, all the things in your shadow side that you may be struggling with. It's not so. Think about the movie It. Once they turned around and started facing it, it wasn't as bad. They were able to calm. And so thank you, everyone. LaShelle, any more last words before we end for today?
Well, I would say let's embrace the shadows. Let's walk into the darkness. Let's get into those things. It's not as scary. It's like if you shine a light on it and you thought that thing that was sitting on a chair was a big old scary monster, and it's like, oh, that was just the dirty clothes I threw on a chair last night. Like, it's not.
Turn the light on. Once you turn the light on, you're like, that's not so bad.
It's not as bad as you thought. It's really not as bad as you thought it was. And so definitely, a lot of times, like I said, understanding that now you are bigger, badder, stronger, and more able to fight those obstacles.
You are capable.
Yes.
Capable.
Yes. Empower yourself.
Empower yourself.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you, LaShelle. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.